Hello, Peter.
Hi, Bob.
It's just fantastic that you allowed Kids Talk Radio to come into your studio and interview you today. But
My pleasure. I like kids. I got two of them, and I've taught quite a few over the years. And you know, I mean, I think most drummers, we feel like kids.
yeah,
all the time.
yeah. Well, our audience wants to know, who is Peter Erskine?
I'm primarily just someone who, loves music and found my joy in expressing this love of music through the drums. I began playing when I was about 4 years old and started taking lessons when I was 5. And I pretty much figured out early on that was what I wanted to do. Dabbled in a little bit of piano and played some trumpet because my teachers would say it's a good idea to learn other instruments, to learn more about music. But I always kept coming back to the drums.
Okay. How did you stick with it all these years? I mean,
I liked playing. I enjoyed playing. Playing consists of a couple of things. There's the pure fun in making music and in the motion, playing on a kit. There's also the challenge of trying to be able to do something, to accomplish a mechanical skill, maybe to achieve mastery over something. And if you don't get it right, that's a challenge. Why do people like to do puzzles? The Sudoku is a popular puzzle with a lot of people. Well, there's a challenge, and you feel good about yourself if you overcome that challenge. So music, in the training, there are lots of hurdles that you jump over, and you feel good about yourself when you finish that part of the race.
well, when I did my research on you, people told me that if I made a list of the 10 top drummers in our country right now at this given time, your name would be on that list. That's incredible.
Well, I don't, if my wife made up the list, it might have my name on it, maybe my kids too. Music is a subjective thing. There's lots of different ways to play it, and all of us who do it like to think that our way is one of the really good ways, The reason that I've enjoyed the opportunity to work so much is that I like most kinds of music. I can't say all kinds, but just about every kind of music. I keep an open mind. I think that every musical experience informs the next one. And my orientation, it's changed over the years. When I was young, I enjoyed kind of being a hotshot, or I tried to be a hotshot. And now I see what I do as playing the drums in such a way so that the other musicians sound better. So it's like what I've learned in playing jazz is you learn to be creative, and in jazz we call that improvisation. And improvisation really means you're composing, right on the spot. And so you're building something. When you're playing the drums, you're a little bit like an architect. You design the shape of something, and you're also like the guy that's banging in those nails. So you're building something as the music's moving along. And if you do it in a good way, then people like listening to it, and the other players enjoy making that music with you. My goal, any kind of gig I do, is that when I leave the concert hall or the recording studio, that everybody's got a smile on their face.
Oh, that's kind of nice.
Yeah, well, it's
okay.
It's a good way to go through life. I mean, if you sell shoes, you can do that, but you can only usually do that one customer at a time.
Yeah.
And with music, it's possible to make a lot of people happy all at once.
Now, this talent did not just fall in your hands. You had to do some hard work. Could you tell us about the hard work?
Well, there was a lot of time spent practicing, you know, and sometimes I wanted to practice. Sometimes I didn't really feel like practicing. But I was lucky enough, number one, to have teachers that demanded that I practice. And my father was always checking in on me to see if I was practicing. But I also had a family that supported me when I did practice. You know, because drums make a fair amount of noise.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no two ways around that. And you know, my parents just kind of set the rule that if Peter wants to practice, he can practice. And so my brother and two sisters were always very supportive of
Wow.
that. And so I was really lucky.
Yeah.